What's your number one?
My number one.
I wonder.
I have
No idea.
My number one, 10 years later, on the 10-year anniversary, that changed my life, and I'm going to be honest, is a 10 on 10, is a record that we can go back to anytime, that really changed the landscape of hip-hop and the hip-hop sound, is Westside Gunn and Flygod. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary. We're going to sit here, Malenko, and we've been friends since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And if Westside Gunn didn't exist, if Westside Gunn didn't put out Flygod, we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast together.
Probably.
That's what brought me and Malenko together. It was Westside Gunn. Okay? Before Flygod, we were comfortable with what the underground used to sound like.
Yep.
Sean Price, Rock Marciano. I would even put in there Black Milk.
Aesop Rock.
Aesop Rock.
That, I'm surprised they not do your list for 2016.
The Impossible Kid.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I was surprised.
We can name Boot Camp Click, Sky Zoo,
Zoo. Yeah, he had a great The Easy Truth.
Action Bronson.
Yep. Nothing came out in 2016 for Action Bronson.
Okay. I'm naming you all these rappers, but what's really changed the landscape of what hip hop sounds like? A lot of people are going to gravitate to Rock Marciano. A lot of people are going to say Rock Marciano changed the landscape of what sound like underground hip hop with Reloaded. But I disagree totally. I say it's Westside Gunn with Flygod. Because with Westside Gunn's Flygod, okay, we have the comfortable underground hip hop sound, but we also have the sound of what's to come for the next 10 years on there. He mixed two sounds together. Rock Marciano paved the way in terms of the drumless beats, in terms of the different style of rapping on a drumless beat or on a beat. Westside Gunn took underground hip hop and gave us a sound that we didn't know we needed, but also gave us a nostalgic in 2016 of what we were missing. You open up the record with Dunks featuring Conway. Okay? Please, Malenko, I'm not gonna point to Derek because Derek is not familiar with this record. Tell me which other album starts off with something like this in 2016 or in the 2010s. This intense, this drum driven, this lyricism that's so aggressive and so angry. This, I don't want to use this, but quote unquote, street hip hop.
That drug dealing. But I mean, there was not much, but I think what the biggest change of Westside Gunn brought is like the structure of songs, the structure of how he do albums, the way he just puts things wherever he wants, the crazy ad-libs.
The Gun ad-libs.
The Gun and putting always the other artists in the forefront before him.
Always.
Yeah.
I remember this when this record came out, and then I'm always going to say this. Danny Brown posted on Instagram, on Twitter at the time, just praising this album. He's also featuring on here, praising this record. And me being like, who the fuck is Westside Gunn? And pressing play, and still to this day, being blown away by the sound of this record.
Danny Brown was had a crazy year in 2016.
Yeah.
He was on all those features.
And he was a featuring on here. Like, if you look at the featurings on here, you got Benny the Butcher, who on Shower Shoe Lords, I had no idea who this guy was. I looked at the track listing, I'm like, the guy's name is just Benny?
Yeah, Benny the Butcher, yeah.
This guy is rapping.
Your Old Droog was on it?
Insane. Your Old Droog, that's another person that I was listening to from the underground in the 2010s. Matt Comey, I didn't know who this person was.
Matt Comey was on it, yeah.
Mayhem Loren on Over Gold.
Yeah.
You got Sky Zoo on here. You got Action Bronson on Dudley Boys.
Probably one of the best songs
on here. But then you get the songs like Free Chapel. Bodies on Fairfax. who was talking about fashion in his raps in the underground till then?
Yeah. All mixed like shit, those songs, though. The mixing of those songs, god damn it. It's so bad, but whatever.
Malenko always has to bring the shittiness of the sounding of the mixing on there, but
well, I think it makes sense to bring it up, like, because it's probably not. It might not be something that you notice at the time, because keep in mind, like a first album of a lot of artists, you're in a lot of ways kind of expecting it. Not that I think it should be tough to mix, but I think you're kind of expecting like a more raw kind of sound. But then you revisit it 10 years later and you're like, please remaster that.
I didn't remember that Dunks was like, it's not the way the everything sounds is crazy, but yeah, he did it. I mean, he has his classics on here. I think Mr. T is probably one of his most classic songs ever. Right?
Paul. Like, and then we're getting into something else he brought back or got people interested in, his wrestling again. Because of the tracks on here, Dudley Boys, Hall, you know, like who was making that wrestling cool in hip hop? Yes, we had the rappers back then that would, you know, they would in a verse, they would do a wrestling verse, but nobody did it like Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn took hip hop and put it into a different level. I look at hip hop as the abyss, the ground level of artists that not a lot of people know, that you'll go to a show and there'll be 30, 40 people, 50 people there. Then there's the underground. They'll have a bit more people. And then there's that middle ground and then the commercial artist. Westside Gunn with the Hitler Wears Hermes series. He was in the abyss. He was at the bottom. He really broke through with Flygod, and that got other people interested in his music and took that style of music and went into a different stratosphere. Because I'm telling you now, please, we wouldn't be doing this podcast if it wasn't for an album like this. Because of all the artists that we talk about and all the artists that we review on our podcast, they wouldn't really exist if it wasn't for a Westside Gunn Flygod album. Yeah, we would have the Cause of the World. We would have the Knowledge, the Pirates of the World because of Rock Marciano. But really think of what Westside Gunn, how many doors he opened with Flygod and gave a structure for them to be able to create music.
Yeah, everybody copycat of that. Crazy.
And you know what? All of them are successful now because they took that antidote, because they took that, you know, that pill, or they took that, whatever you want to call it, that formula and made it into their own.
What do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah. But I feel like the game, like 70-60% of the game now is all Griselda bass inspired music.
Griselda and Westside Gunn made that sound that we love today, that we reviewed, that we're always...
The unstructured, the short songs, like he had poetry on this, like Keisha Plum doing spoken poetry at the end of the outros. Talk about wrestling. All those things now, everybody copy that in the other.
Wrestling was cool again after you hear this because you're like, fuck the Dudley Boys. Let me go back and watch Dudley Boys matches. What's happening in wrestling now? Hall. And also the skits. Yeah. The long...
outro like with Rashid and stuff like, yeah, A.A. Rashid.
Look, he took it onto a different planet. And you know what? Shouts out to him because a lot of it would not exist if it wasn't for Flygod and Westside Gunn. Yes, Supreme Blientele did something different in terms of that sound. But Flygod is just... To me, Flygod is just it's what made everything. It's what made everything. This album literally built everything for what's to come for the next 10 years. And that's how I'm going to end it. Flygod at number 1, 10 on 10. Happy anniversary, Flygod, 10 years down the line.
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised.